Hello, everyone, and welcome to Irish Uncensored. I'm Tyler, and I'm with my buddy as always, Grant. How you doing, man?
Feeling pretty good, buddy. Pockets are a little fuller after the day.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game. We're gonna get into the North Carolina game, break it down, what we thought, and I guess let's just start out with the beginning of the game, right?
Sure.
All right. So in the first quarter, I was not feeling good. How about you?
It was just a bit demoralizing for them to get the ball and kind of just walk down the field, and then just when you think that you're gonna stop them, they go for it on fourth down and just cook you. So
Whoa, what am I doing? Okay, hold. Yeah, that sucked. So they scored a touchdown in the first quarter, and we scored nothing. They were up 7-0 going into the second quarter. It was a pretty uneventful first quarter, to
yeah,
be
all in
honest.
all, and honestly, we held up pretty well defensively. Like after that fact of giving up the long drive. So, I mean, it wasn't a total wash. I started to gain confidence in our defense in the first quarter just because they were actually, holding their own, so to speak. Um, we missed a field goal in the first quarter, right? Was that the
Yeah,
quarter we missed a field goal in? Yeah.
yeah, pretty sure. But then we came out in the second quarter and we looked like a whole new team. We moved right down the field, and then we got a touchdown pass to Mayer, and then stopped them, got a touchdown pass to Styles. That was all within the first 5 minutes of the quarter.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
really, up until this point in the season, we hadn't moved the ball down the field at all, and I
Yep.
don't think consistently at all. So these might have been the first two like back to back drives that we moved the ball down the field and scored a touchdown, not a field goal, of the
Right.
whole season.
And it looks so good.
It really did. It
Man.
was like a new team was out there. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
Mhm.
we were a completely new team. And before, I mean, I guess we'll get into it multiple times, but North Carolina's defense was one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah, they are pretty terrible.
Like, we haven't looked good and we haven't been consistent. We haven't been consistent passing, running, anything. And we torched them.
I mean, there wasn't a single thing that they did well that game. I mean,
No.
we abused them in every aspect. I mean, passing the ball, running the ball didn't matter. We were doing it.
Yep. And then they come down and they scored a touchdown on a 76-yard drive pretty quickly. So we were tied up. And then we got the ball back and we moved the ball 75 yards and scored a touchdown from Estime. And if we want to get into a little bit of Estime before we move on, Estime had 17 carries for 134 yards, an average of 7.9 and two touchdowns. I mean,
Easily could have been a third. Honestly, I think he was gassed and just reaching for the end zone late in the game, and
oh yeah, that's right. We
it
had a
easily could have
touchdown,
been a third.
a fumble on like the 1 inch yard line.
Hmm.
Seriously, yeah, that should have been. I don't know what happened. It was pretty bad, but whatever. If you're gonna make a mistake like that, that was the time to do it
Yep,
because it
absolutely.
didn't matter. But I had said I expect him to have a big game. I don't even think I expected him to have as big a game as he did.
So okay, so the first quarter we opened up with Diggs as our starting running back, who we
Yeah,
hadn't really seen a lot of, and we didn't really see a ton of Estime in the first quarter. In the whole first quarter, I was thinking, well, what happened to Estime? He was literally like your lead back this whole time, basically all year, and now we're not using him at all. And then he started playing and just dominated.
yeah, he solidified himself as our main guy. Like, sorry, Tyree and Diggs, but Estime has been the fucking man. And we still utilize Tyree and Diggs, and they played plenty. But I mean, every time Estime is out there, he is a threat.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Estime can catch the ball too. I think that's kind of a slept on thing right now because we don't necessarily need him to do it, but he can because we've seen it.
Yeah, he's also way faster than we've said it already this season, but he is so much faster than I expected for
Yeah,
being fucking huge.
yeah. He looks like a runaway freight train. whenever he
Yep.
really gets going. And I mean, not to take anything away from the O line because they played awesome overall, but they were hustling down the field and pushing right behind him. So imagine Estime already running into you, and then Blake Fisher coming and pushing on you, or Patterson, or anybody like that. So I mean, it really went a long way.
Yeah, I think he's got a future like Jerome Bettis. I can already see it now. He looks like the bus out there, and I think he will be. I mean, he's a freshman, right?
He's technically a sophomore. I think he appeared in more than 4 games last year, so probably a sophomore, but he barely got on the field.
Okay, so technically he could probably play 5 years, but he has at least
Two
three
years,
or two
yeah,
more years of
basically, yeah.
eligibility after
So
this
does
year.
Diggs. That's the craziest part. So does Diggs. And Tyree, I want to say, has at least 1 more year, if not more. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting, like having this backfield unfold because we legit have three. I don't know. It's so sucky because we're 2-2, but I don't really know too many teams. Maybe like Ohio State, maybe like a Georgia, who have like three backs like Notre Dame. Like any one of those guys could play and do well. Obviously, Estime's proved the most so far, but I mean Tyree can do a lot of stuff. Diggs can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely deep. So we ended up ending the first half with a field goal. And then coming out in the third quarter, I think we started with the ball, right? Yeah, we started with the
Yeah.
ball and we scored a touchdown to Diggs. 6 play, 75 yards. Like we're just looking good.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it.
It was such a strange feeling watching the game and having us just literally move down the field like with no issue and just keep going.
Yeah, and I'm obviously excited. I was so excited watching the game. Like not only to control the game, but move the ball well, like just
Mhm.
be in the lead most of the time. But I'm almost worried. Like, is this what we're gonna see, or was this a product of North Carolina having the worst defense of all time? Because that's how bad they were.
I mean, it truthfully,
Marshall looked better than them.
it could be some of both. I think that it's a great building block for Drew Pine. I mean, as
Oh,
a
for
starter now,
sure.
2-0, 5 touchdowns, no picks. As the starter, I know he threw one against Marshall, but I'm not really counting that against him. Just being thrust in there, no warm up throws or nothing. Just here, go win us the game.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, he's doing what we knew he could do, which is manage the game, not make big mistakes, hit a throw or two that's pretty impressive, and just kind of let his guys do his thing. As long as the O line is playing well, Drew will be okay.
yeah, I agree. I think Drew, at least in this game, solidified himself as a good quarterback. And I don't know what Buckner would have done this game. We can only speculate what he would have done. I'm sure he would have torched them because they
Mhm.
sucked. But would he have torched them passing? Because he just hasn't proven anything as a passer. And I think Drew looks better overall. It's hard to really say for sure because we don't get to see him week in and week out, and Buckner's hurt now, and but damn, I'm much happier these last 2 weeks with Drew in there than I have been with Buckner before that.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, it just kind of sucks for Buckner because, well, there's nothing he can do to prove anybody wrong. But the thing of it is you know what? Just to be completely honest, he didn't take advantage of the opportunity when he had it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He had a chance to. I mean, of course, one of them was against Ohio State, and that's a tough game. But
We
whenever you're out there, you have a chance to prove yourself every single time. What you're made of, what can you do? I mean, we always dog on this guy, and I'm gonna do it again. But Braden Lindsay, man. Braden Lindsay, he had one reception for 7 yards. I'm pretty sure he was targeted at least 3 or 4 times. He has proven to us to be a non factor on the field. 100%. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, and like I don't. I don't go back and watch the whole game tape or anything, so I don't know like how much is he open versus what is he running versus, you know what I'm saying? I don't know all of it. And I know he's like a fifth year senior, so he's kind of earned his right to play and that he's not making mistakes, but he's not a playmaker for Notre Dame, not in any capacity whatsoever.
No.
Him and Matt Salerno are almost on the same playing field when it comes to actually making plays for Notre Dame. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really sad.
That's insane.
And I don't know if it's his fault this year or if it's just like Buckner chucking it over his head the first two games, and now Drew Pine's kind of not the guy to stretch the field that often. Like there was one predetermined deep ball that Drew threw to Jaden Thomas that was like
Dude,
face double
Jaden, he
coverage,
wasn't open. It was
not
double
open.
coverage. He wasn't faster than either guy next to him.
Nope.
That was
It
that
was
was
like
not good.
100%. I'm throwing this ball no matter what.
Yeah,
That
and
was what
I
the
don't
play
think that's
was.
necessarily a bad thing. At least he didn't throw a pick. But if you're gonna do it, was that the guy to throw it to?
Right. Right. And we're
Deep.
still another week with seeing Tobias Merriweather not do shit.
Yeah.
For really no explanation considering how badly we were winning the game. I mean,
Yeah.
it is
But
what it is, but
what I think about Lindsey about the overthrow, like we overthrew him one, so he could have a touchdown. I remember back in the day. I'm going to use Will Fuller.
mhm,
He got overthrown on touchdowns. He
yeah,
would have scored. He had no problem scoring double digit touchdowns still because he made fucking plays. He
yeah,
was a dude. He was so reliable, always open, making plays with the ball in his hand or getting open or going deep. No matter what, it's like, okay, whatever happens this game, at some point, Will Fuller's going to go the fuck off.
yep,
No, in some way.
mhm.
Like, that's not what we have with Lindsey. And that is what I expected. I really did.
I mean, as much as like every year we talked about Braden Lindsey breakout, it's because he's so fast and has such great athletic capabilities, but it just for whatever reason has not translated to his statistical numbers at all. Like, I mean, man, I think that he looked better as like a freshman and a
Yep.
sophomore than he's looked as a junior, senior, fifth year senior, whatever he is. And not to just pile on him because, like I said, I don't know how much of it's on him. I mean, if you're not getting the ball thrown to you, you're not. And the fact of the matter is, he's not getting targets. And the reason why is because we have running backs who can catch the ball. We have Michael Mayer, and Lorenzo Styles is significantly better as a sophomore.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily trying to pile on, but it's just like we watch the games and we see these people play for years and hear about them, and how do you not notice it? Like, or am I just supposed to close my fucking eyes and pretend none of that happened and the hype was never there? And
Right.
it
No, I get it. And I
it's just
mean,
crazy to me. It really blows
they
my mind.
they have they used him on like maybe they've done it once or twice, but his thing used to be like jet sweeps and
Yeah,
reverses, and all of a sudden it's like not his thing. And maybe that's just because they prefer Chris Tyree in that role, but I mean, he if he's not running in a straight line, I mean, a lot of times, like you said before, he looks confused when running routes. He's running the wrong routes, or him and the quarterback aren't on the same page. And it's like, whose fault is that?
yeah. A good example I can use is Jalen Smith. He won linebacker of the year or whatever for the
Mhm,
nation in high school, and then went into Notre Dame with that kind of hype.
mhm.
Freshman year, I don't think he played. Did he play?
He
Like
played a little
barely.
bit. He
Like
didn't play a lot.
he didn't do anything. He's a freshman linebacker. He wasn't as big as he became, but I remember his sophomore year, it was like, okay, there he is.
Mhm.
It didn't take him long to show who he was.
No,
And then he did, and he ended up being one of the best linebackers in college football history, like literally up there.
he was legit. He was legit. I mean, you're talking a top five draft pick,
It
probably in
minus that
the
injury.
draft, minus the injury.
Yeah, and obviously that changed a lot, but just in college football terms, he's one of the best.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and that's where the hype was. I don't know if the hype was as high for Lindsey, but it was up there with being that good. And
I think it was just up there because of everything like you hear from beat writers and different things. Like you just see the potential, and
Okay, but it was up there for Michael Floyd. Michael Floyd fucking did it. It was up
yeah,
there for Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool fucking did it. He was mossing everybody.
yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm not
We
trying to
we've
stick up for him. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know why it's been such a disappointment.
it it's up there for every tight end we bring into Notre Dame, and
Yeah,
almost every one of them proved to be that good.
yeah. I mean,
It's
we're legit sitting with Michael Mayer, who is pretty much probably the best tight end in the history of Notre Dame.
which blows my mind because we only have like five other ones that are incredible,
Yeah,
just all time tight ends in college football in the last like 20 years.
yeah.
And
We've got a
somehow
lot.
Mayer's just better and doing better than them statistically with lesser quarterbacks.
And he's a junior on top of
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. They called him like baby Gronk his freshman year.
Yeah,
That's pretty high praise right there.
yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
legit.
back to the game. So we were up 38-20 after the third quarter. Then we started out the fourth quarter with a 75-yard drive, or part of that was the end of the third quarter as well. And we scored a touchdown. Tyree scored it. So we're at 45-20. And then that was it for our scoring. And they scored two more touchdowns. I think they went for two both times. Yeah. They went for two both times and failed. So we ended up winning 45-32. A much closer game than it really was.
Oh yeah, 100%. Notre Dame owned that game. Owned it.
Yeah. Especially because, like we said earlier, Estime had that fumble on the 1 yard line, so we should have had 50.
Yeah, and missed field goal. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, we easily could have scored 60 plus. We didn't, and I wish we had just to put it to them even more. But I'm not mad about the game. We looked great, and I have a lot of hope going into next week and really this season, which I did not fucking have after the first 2 weeks of the season.
no, we're in a very interesting spot now because if we beat BYU, we kind of go into that not a lull, but a lull in our schedule as far as like easiness and simplicity. It gets easy for a few games. I think it's like UNLV, Syracuse, a couple other teams, but then we run into Clemson. We could realistically go into the Clemson game with two losses against an undefeated Clemson team, and hopefully are continuing to click on all cylinders, um, or at least continuing to progress. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that we'd win that game or that we'll even beat BYU, but I'm just saying that, like you said, there's a lot more optimism that you can pull now because I feel like where we were down a peg, we've stepped up another peg. We've stepped up one.
Yeah,
Now we're not as shit as everyone said we were. Um,
we were looking as we were looking. I don't know
so
about everyone said we were saying it more than anybody, man. Like,
there
thank
we look
God we've
shit.
turned it around.
I'm just saying that now that we have a win like that, regardless of the opponent, everyone was meat sucking North Carolina, which is why they were a 2.5 point favorite, a decent money line favorite, and that's where all the money was. So
I expected because I picked North Carolina to win. I was not confident in the game, and North Carolina came out and I did exactly what I was scared of.
they did.
And I was worried as hell. But then all of a sudden, I didn't factor in that we were going to come to play as much as we did offensively, and that North Carolina's defense was a middle school defense
Well,
because it
and
was.
okay, here's the thing, and I hate this about just being Notre Dame, but it is what it is. It comes with a price. For a school like North Carolina, who is sitting there at 3-0, beating Slapfuck University and Poop State and whoever the hell else, you shouldn't be going for that on fourth down on the opening drive of the game. You should be getting the points. You should be getting points. If your offense is as good as you say it is, they should be able to score no problem. You're going to be back. Take the points. And you go for it. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, good. I mean, they got it, so whatever. But I'm just saying, like in a normal ass game,
Not against Notre Dame. They wouldn't go for
yes,
it.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, you're probably right. I know if I was going against a big school like that, I know I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
It just sucks because it's like, okay, our defense was bending, they didn't break. Fourth down, fade to Josh Downs, who's a stud. I mean,
yeah.
Bracey's tripping over himself. Overall, he had a really good game still, but it was a very I was cussing very loudly.
So we play BYU next. Just getting into the schedule because you brought it up a little earlier. BYU's ranked 19th now, although we have a bye week. So by the time we play them, who knows what they'll be ranked. We also play Clemson and USC later, 5 and 6 in the nation. So we go BYU, Stanford, UNLV at Syracuse, Clemson, Navy, Boston College at USC. So we've got 3 tough teams left for sure, and then a couple other random teams like Navy that are always a pain in the ass.
So what if hypothetically, I'm going to go hypothetical on you.
We
We end
have
up
to.
beating an undefeated Clemson team who, they haven't lost yet. Maybe that's the only loss they have all year. And then we go and we beat an undefeated USC team to finish off the year. And you're looking back at our schedule and you're looking at our 2 losses and you're like, I'm not saying playoff, but I think that we could be in a better position than we thought we could be.
I mean, that is a lot of speculation, but let's just say somehow this was our turnaround game, and that's true. We are playing better, scoring, everything we need to do, and we do beat them, which I hate talking like this because it's worthless conversation. But let's just say we do. I mean, we're top 10, I don't know, maybe top 7.
I
I
mean, that's
and
fair.
then think about that fucking Marshall loss.
Yep.
Think
That's
about that.
that's in the playoff, in the money.
Yep. So, I mean, I don't think we're that good of a team to do all that, but we have the opportunity to.
Oh yeah.
And that loss, I mean, then we're looking back and saying, man, I wish we started Pine to start this season.
There's just no way that we could have justified it with the hype train surrounding Buckner, and I don't think anyone could have with
Wins,
everything.
wins justify it to me.
Wins justify it now, but the thing of it is last year everyone was saying, Buckner is going to be that guy next year. He's going to be the guy all camp long. It wasn't close. Buckner was the guy, and it was determined so early, which is why part of me is like, I like it. Like Pine's doing great. I'm happy for him, whatever. But it's disappointing because as of now, we have no quarterback coming in 23. We have Angeli, Buckner, and Pine all as of now coming back next year. They've already predetermined that Pine is not the guy to get you to that next year. That's been determined. If you weren't beating out sophomore Tyler Buckner, you're not him. The staff does not think you're him.
But let's just say, like you said, if he plays well throughout this whole season, he could step into that role. Kind of like how Brady did for the Patriots. Like he has a chance to prove himself to be the guy, whether they think so or not.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I think the issue is again, it's like in Ian Book, which I don't think I've ever appreciated Ian Book more than now. But
Yep.
Drew Pine can do a lot of things good. He does nothing extraordinary. He doesn't have an overly big arm. He's not the most accurate guy. He doesn't have any kind of elite speed. There is nothing to him that makes him like your program go up.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say that I think he does well is he knows what he's doing out there. It's like, and that sounds so stupid. It really does say it out loud. But I don't know if Buckner literally was catching the ball and like tucking it on passes half second into his progressions.
Well, you remember we talked about this. We said how much of the offense with Buckner was overly complex because he can do a couple different things. So the offense was more complicated for everyone. All of a sudden, 2 games into Pine, and I'm not saying the O line was bound to get better. So I don't want to take that, blame that on Tyler's
Yeah.
offense. But All of a sudden, the offensive line's fucking blocking their asses off, and Estime and Diggs and Tyree are spazzing the fuck out, and we're running a different offense. It's not the same offense. I
Yeah.
know Marcus Freeman in a presser said it's not going to be that different. It is different. It's a lot different. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same at all. It's not even a little bit the same. It feels like a completely new team. How
It
could it
does.
not be when you have a primarily running quarterback to a not running quarterback? It has to be.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I'm looking forward to the BYU game. I think I can't wait to see the lines. If I haven't seen any yet, but once I see some lines, like this is another game where I feel like Notre Dame could be the underdog and probably
Yeah,
will
we
be.
should. Yeah, I don't. I think we will be. It's hard to say right now.
And
If
I just
BYU loses again, I don't know who they play this week.
I'm
Then,
not sure. I just know that Oregon bitch slapped the fuck out of BYU.
yep.
And I'm not saying that we would handle them the same way Oregon did, but that makes me feel good because I know it can happen. So call it what it
But
is.
our game, which I just noticed, we had 289 passing yards and 287 rushing. I mean, that doesn't get more balanced than that. That's
No, no, and
if
you
we can have if we can consistently be getting 250 plus rushing yards. I honestly think we're winning out. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but that's a
yeah,
lot. That's too many rushing yards to be given up to any team.
that's very high expectation. But all I'll say is outside of BYU and Clemson, I don't think that we play too many difficult defenses. USC's defense is butt cheese. I mean, they're everywhere else is pretty banged up. So besides for Clemson and BYU is supposed to have a pretty decent defense. Um, but obviously Oregon, that didn't stop Oregon from shitting all over them. So
Yeah. I'm feeling much more positive than I was before, and I'm hoping we can continue that because it this game is such a hard one to look at and think like we're gonna be like this every week because North Carolina's defense was so bad. But
yeah,
I'm
and
just hoping we can learn from it and be close to it.
I mean for the rest of the year, we need to be like the biggest Marshall, Ohio State, North Carolina fans. Make the record look
I don't
good.
think those none of that matters because of our two losses
No,
already.
it's not going to ultimately matter, but I'm saying like when you look back at it, if Marshall goes 9-3, 8-4, regardless,
Dude,
Ohio
it's
State
a
runs the
loss to
table.
Marshall. I don't think if they were 12-0, I don't think it would even matter.
No, but I'm saying when you add up everybody's record, the better your opponents look, the better you look.
But what will that mean? Take us from an 8 seed to a 6 seed? Like, does that even matter?
Maybe we get to play Brian Kelly. I would love that.
Oh, that would be great.
Speaking into
Is it
existence,
is it next year they go to an 8-team playoff or something?
I don't know. It might be 12 team, but I don't know if it's next year or the following year.
Yeah, so pretty soon it's gonna start mattering. All
Yep.
the like then we're gonna get into like 3 lost teams making the playoff and it's gonna be super fucking weird.
I really kind of feel like they're taking a good thing and they're kind of spoiling it. Like we were already remember when they were doing BCS and it was kind of bullshit because there was always felt like there was 3 teams that could be in the Natty, but they
Yeah.
only played 2. And then they got the playoff and you're like, finally, the top, 4 teams can just duke it out. I hate to tell everybody, have you seen the 1 versus 4 matchups? Have you not seen them? It's a straight
That
shit.
Yeah, well, typically the number 1 team has been so much better that it just has been a shitting.
But
But
that's why there
that
shouldn't
first
be a 12
year,
team
Ohio
playoff.
State won. They were the number 4 seed.
But that's why there shouldn't be a 12-team playoff. I mean,
I agree with that. I think 4 is the right number. I really do. I also think it prioritizes big wins and you can't lose many games. Like you're in, you earned it.
yeah,
If you're the 5 seed and you're like, damn, we should have been in, it's like you should have won another fucking game then because this is like the cream of the crops getting in.
yep,
And then when we're going to 8 and 12, 12 is definitely too many, but 8 is like I think the max you could even say is okay.
yeah. It'll be interesting when it all shakes out, but we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll be back next week with the BYU pregame. Who knows? Maybe we'll do something because Notre Dame doesn't play this week. We'll see. I don't really know. But thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe below. We are also on Facebook, the Irish Uncensored Facebook page, where you can say what you want without feeling like you're going to get kicked out, because we don't kick people out for speaking their mind.
Yeah,
But go Irish.
go Irish.